think it's fair to give them a little bit of time to grieve as we're joined by the chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, Boo Corrigan. So, Boo, we just saw the reaction from Florida State, undefeated, Power 5 champion. Yeah. Their conference has a winning record against the SEC overall, yet Alabama got the nod over them. And I know you don't go head-to-head, but you do go with the 6 teams and then top three teams ranked off the board. So you got Michigan, Washington, Texas off the board. So in some instance, it came down to Alabama and Florida State. Why did you choose Alabama?
Well, I think in looking at it, and again, that was the decision, was Alabama at 4. Florida State is a different team than they were through the first 11 weeks. Coach Norvell, their players, their fans, an incredible season. But as you look at who they are as a team right now, without Jordan Travis, without the offensive dynamic that he brings to it, they are a different team. And the committee voted Alabama 4 and Florida State 5.
There are a number of people in that committee room, Boo, who have football backgrounds. Jim Grobe, great coach at Wake Forest. You had Will Shields, who's a Hall of Fame player. You've got Joe Taylor, great coach. Chris Alt, great coach. When they were debating this, and Booger's been talking about it's okay to win with defense. When the coaches, the football judgment people in the room were debating this, what moved them?
I think it's one of the questions that we do ask is from a coaching standpoint, who do you want to play? Who do you not want to play? And as we go through that, again, looking at where we are today, right? Not where we were 3 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago. Who do they want to play? Who do they not want to play? And they've got a significant voice in the room. And as we went through that, and we went around and around, late last night, came back again this morning to do it again. And again, we came back with the top 4 as we did in Florida State at 5.
How many times did you go through that process?
Half dozen, 8.
How many times?
6.
How many times did it come out differently from this final version?
No, it was much more the debate in the room, right, as we're going around it. And each person, at one point in time, it was each person spoke about where they were with all of it, right, with 1 and 2. Where are we with 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and making sure that we got that right. But there was never a rush moment, Reese. There was never a, hey, it's this or that, or it's this time or that time. We just wanted to make sure we got it right, which is why we came back again this morning and went through all of it again.
We talked over the last couple of weeks, Boo, about the injury to Jordan Travis. It's in the protocol that the committee is bound to evaluate when coaches or players aren't there, or if they aren't going to be there. How would you say you balanced that part of the evaluation for Florida State against Alabama beating the team that you guys had ranked number 1, and perhaps, even though you wouldn't tell me before, perhaps some in the room had thought was unequivocally better than everyone else up to that point?
Yeah, we had 8 really good teams this year, right? Somewhat of a unique year in the last year of the 4, right, as we go through this. But, looking at the player availability was really important to what's going on. And I think someone said it there, you can lose a running back, you could lose a wide receiver, but, a quarterback as dynamic as Jordan Travis, it changes their offense in its entirety. And that was really a big factor with the committee as we went through everything.
I know this is not something that is supposed to come up necessarily, but as you look at these matchups and we move to this next era of college football where there's a perception that there is a Big 2 conference situation and everybody else, all 4 of these teams are going to be in either the Big 10 or the SEC next year. How was that evaluated in terms of being concerned about leaving out an undefeated champion from another league?
It really wasn't. I mean, when you think about the differences that'll be going on in scheduling and everything that happens with those teams as they do go into a new conference, I mean, again, feel horrible for Coach Norvell, the players, but again, they're a different team now than they were earlier in the year. And you know, it's been a long couple of days.
Number one team in your rankings, Michigan. They've played half their schedule almost, 6 of their 13 games without their head coach on the sideline. How did that factor into the evaluation of Michigan?
You know, in the room, as we talk about it, so much of it is about player leadership, right? And the young men that are on the program and driving that. Obviously, it hurts not to have your head coach. Sharon Moore came in and did a great job when Coach Harbaugh was not available. But, you know, those players found a way to gather together and continue to keep the mission at heart.
Boo, thank you very much for your time. I know it was a very difficult decision and one that's going to be controversial, and you'll have a lot more questions to answer about it, I'm sure, over the next day or two. But we thank you for your time and thanks for your candor today in terms of evaluating Florida State and the impact of the injuries. And I'm sure we'll talk to you a little bit later on in this show today.
Yeah, thanks to all you guys for what you do for college football. It's really important.